Maggie, and today we're going to be talking about the latest drama to take the world of Fortnite by storm. And that's patch 8.20. Now, it brings me no pleasure to be talking about this, as overall, I think Season 8 has been a major step forward for Fortnite, with a lot of really positive changes. So it's sad to see Fortnite going back to its controversial ways, with the development team making more strange choices once again. In fact, I decided against making this video any earlier, as I was convinced that Epic would revert the changes in patch 8.20, especially considering all of the public backlash from players and the media. This is one of the most controversial patches of all time, which caused outrage from the vast majority of players. If you've been online, I'm sure you've heard all about it. It's all anyone's talking about. Just look at the replies to any of Epic's tweets, and you'll see people replying, saying to revert the changes, or something along those lines. So why exactly was this patch so controversial? Well, I think to understand this, you've got to look back to Season 7, when Fortnite was going through a particularly rough period. Player morale was at an all-time low, due to the inclusion of planes, game-breaking glitches, as well as issues with weapon balance. This led to a number of players moving over to the brand new Battle Royale Apex Legends, which was hugely successful on release, with it leading to many high-profile streamers like Ninja, Dakotas, and Daquan to jump on board for a few weeks. This led to Fortnite seeing a decrease in players during this time, meaning Epic Games had to do something to counter this, and within a couple of weeks, we saw the greatest patch in Fortnite history, with changes to ziplines, deagles, and planes causing a massive amount of praise from players. However, it was the addition of the siphon settings to default playlists that was the biggest game changer, and saw widespread love from the players, with each elimination granting 50 health or shields and materials, as well as an increased farm rate, which is something people had been asking for months. This brought back a lot of the players, as it made the game so much better. However, in patch 8.20, out of nowhere, Epic decided to revert the siphon settings, which made a lot of people angry and frustrated, including myself. And a major reason for that is that the introduction of the siphon settings helped tackle a lot of the game's major issues. So to take them away, it meant that we had to deal with them all over again. For example, third partying. Without the siphon settings, third partying is far more effective and common, as enemies can kill you easily knowing that you'll be weak and low on materials, having just come out of a fight. Yeah, I third party myself. Everyone does. It's an inevitable part of any Battle Royale. But the siphon settings were a great counter to it. I mean, there's nothing more unsatisfying than when you have 2 or 3 people jump on you on spawn, and you kill them, only for a third party to come and kill you easily, as you've no materials or health. Yet by giving health and materials for kills, it actually made early fights feel rewarding, and meant you could stand a chance if an enemy player was lucky enough to find shield. In fact, the shield RNG is once again a major factor, which is something that had been frustrating the community for a long time. I made a video on the subject a few months back, and unfortunately, a lot of the points I made in that video are as relevant today as they were back then. Shields were way too uncommon before, so by implementing the siphon settings into default playlists, it really helped to alleviate a lot of these problems. And as of right now, shotguns are way too strong for you to be running around without any shield at all. By removing shield on kills, the skill gap is far lower, as anyone can kill anyone when we all have no shield or materials, and a pump can one-tap from just a body shot. Also, with patch 8.20 reverting the farming rate changes, which had been increased by 40%, it means that way longer has to be spent farming to get a decent amount of materials, which nobody wants. Who enjoys farming for 10 minutes each game? Definitely not me. The siphon settings being introduced is a big reason why people came back to Fortnite, so for Epic to take them away once everyone is used to it and loves it, feels like Epic are taking the players for granted, and just assuming that everyone will continue to play regardless. It's clear that Epic were expecting people to be angry about this change, so it's no coincidence that the removal of the siphon settings coincided with the introduction of the arena mode, Epic's latest attempt of a rank system. However, this new mode has its own share of issues, which I'll get into in a future video. As of right now, pubs suck because of all the changes, and although the siphon settings are still in arena, there's no real reason to play it, unless you're looking to qualify for tournaments, which is a real problem. So if these changes have had a lot of negative impacts on the game, then why did Epic implement them? Well, according to the patch notes, they claim that the siphon settings led to an unhealthy level of aggressive play, diminishing other viable strategies. And straight up, I'm going to call BS on that one. The siphon settings definitely led to more aggressive play, but to say that this was the only viable strategy is ridiculous. Players were still far more likely to do well by looting on the outskirts of the map, and ensuring they get good weapons, shield and materials, rather than risking fights. All it did was make the game more fun, by limiting the amount of time they have to do boring aspects of the game, like farming and looting, and could spend more time fighting. You know, the entire reason people play Fortnite. I've honestly no idea what they mean by unhealthy aggression. People have been pushing fights constantly since the days of Season 3. And you could argue ever since Tilted was introduced. It's really dumb. So I don't buy this explanation at all. However, I do have two main theories as to why Epic have done this. Number one, to make pubs easier for casuals. By removing the siphon settings, it greatly reduces the skill gap, therefore giving bad players a better chance. I can understand why Epic might have thought this was necessary, and I'm sure they probably had some data that led to this, but I really don't think that this was the answer. In fact, by making it so everyone is weaker, it just means that the rare occasions that casuals are able to get kills, they're almost certainly going to die to a third party, due to not getting the extra shield like they would before. So in reality, it doesn't really help them all that much either. My other main theory about this is that they've done it to push players to play arena mode, where the siphon settings are still active, with them particularly wanting the high skilled players to move over. That way pubs become a lot more casual and less intense for newer players, and I can understand why they want that, as pubs have become incredibly sweaty during the last month or so. Definitely not noob friendly. But what needs to be done? Well, unsurprisingly, I think the changes need to be reverted, which is a belief massively supported by the rest of the community. I posted a poll online, and from 251 votes, 71% believe that Epic had made a mistake, compared to only 17% that agreed with the changes. So it's clear to see what the community wants. Fortnite was in a really good place before the changes, apart from the usual performance issues, so bringing them back would be a good first step. However, I do think more needs to be done, as there were some genuine issues, such as how prevalent thirsting became. Granted, it's always been a major part of the game, but as soon as the siphon settings were introduced, thirsting became significantly worse. Whereas before, if you were knocked, you'd be thirsted about 60% of the time, but when they introduced shield per kill, it soon rose to about 90% I'd say, which was definitely annoying. A good counter to this, however, and one that was already on its way, are the respawn vans, which will allow players to pick up a player card from where the teammate died, before taking it to a van, which allows the player to respawn. This would be a game changer, as it would massively reduce the impact of thirsting, and make duos and squads far more fun, especially knowing that your game isn't ruined by losing a teammate early on. Also, with Epic wanting players to play arena mode over pubs to help newer players, they shouldn't be trying to make pubs bad. What they need to do is make arena mode good. Give people a reason to play it, and not just the tryhards. It doesn't need to only be for sweats. It can be for everyone. I want a reason to grind arena, but with no real incentives like skins, V-Bucks, or even a defined thought out tier system, I'd rather just chill in pubs for the meantime. If people have a reason to play arena mode, then it'll make pubs more casual than ever, which will be great for people who just want to relax and mess about with their friends, without having to constantly come across kids flexing their 90s. So major changes need to be made. Anyway, I think that's enough ranting for today's video. So, what do you think about the changes in patch 8.20? Were you happy about them? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.